Imagine a boundless ocean of utter darkness, where a colossal cosmic bonfire burned for billions of years, and suddenly, in a single instant, someone's invisible hand simply flipped a switch, plunging an entire universe into an icy silence. This is not a fairy tale or a sci-fi thriller, but a frightening reality that astronomers have just encountered. Deep in space, something has been discovered that makes even the most seasoned scientists turn gray. Let us take off our spacesuits, pour some hot tea, and try to figure out what on Earth is going on out there. Imagine you are looking at the night sky. You see thousands of stars. They seem eternal to us, like granite cliffs. But astronomers know that stars are born, live, and die. It is a long process. It takes millions and billions of years. A star is like a huge bonfire. First, the most cheerful and brightest firewood burns through. Then only glowing embers remain. And so, scientists pointed their most powerful telescopes deep into the universe. They were looking for ordinary galaxies. A galaxy is like a giant metropolis for stars. In our galaxy, the Milky Way, hundreds of billions of luminaries live, and they all shine in different ways. Some burn brightly with a blue flame, while others quietly smolder with a little red light. But what they saw at a distance of several billion light-years from us simply boggles the mind. There was a galaxy there, huge, beautiful, full of stars, and suddenly it disappeared. Bam! And darkness. Moreover, it did not disappear as if it were hidden by a cosmic cloud of dust. It stopped emitting absolutely everything. Imagine that in a huge city with millions of inhabitants, all the windows, all the streetlights, car headlights, and even mobile phone screens went out at the exact same time. Such a thing simply cannot happen in nature. When an ordinary galaxy dies, it happens very slowly. It is similar to how a cup of hot cocoa cools down on your table. First, the most intense heat goes away. Then the drink becomes warm, and only after an hour is it completely cold. Stars in galaxies die one by one. First, the giants explode. This happens with a terrifying roar that we call a supernova explosion. It is so bright that a single star can shine more powerfully than its entire home galaxy. Then, smaller stars, like our Sun, gradually go out. They swell up, shed their outer layers, and turn into white dwarfs. This takes billions of years. Space is in no hurry at all. It has plenty of time. But here we see a completely different picture. Trillions of stars went out at the exact same time, as if someone had given an order. Scientists checked all their instruments. They thought it was a computer error. Could a cosmic fly have landed on the telescope lens? Or maybe a pixel glitched on the sensor? No, the checks showed that everything was working perfectly. The object is truly dead. There is no more heat there. There are no radio waves. There is no X-ray radiation. Absolute zero. Total emptiness, where just yesterday a vibrant stellar life was bustling. That is when scientists remembered a certain terrifying theory. It is called the Great Filter. Imagine a sieve used to sift flour. Large lumps stay behind, while small ones pass through. The Great Filter is a kind of hypothetical wall in the path of any intelligent civilization. Astronomers have long wondered, if the universe is so huge and old, then where are all the aliens? Why haven't little green men flown to us in flying saucers yet? Why aren't they sending us radio broadcasts with greetings? The Great Filter provides the exact answer to this. Perhaps intelligent life in the universe appears often. Bacteria originate somewhere, then they turn into fish, then into dinosaurs, and then an intelligent species appears. This species builds houses, invents the internet, and starts launching rockets into space. And right here, it hits an invisible barrier, some kind of catastrophe that is impossible to survive.
It could be a nuclear war, a deadly virus, or an artificial intelligence that decides to destroy its creators. The civilization perishes before it even manages to settle on neighboring stars. Previously, we thought that the Great Filter was something that awaited a specific planet. Well, the inhabitants of some Alpha Centauri got unlucky and blew themselves up. It happens. But what has been found now surpasses any nightmares in its scale. The tragedy did not happen on one planet, and not even in one star system. An entire galaxy died. This means that the Great Filter can operate at the level of giant stellar islands.
Let us turn on our imagination and think about what could have done such a thing to an entire trillion stars. The first thought that comes to mind is a cosmic weapon. It sounds like a plot for a cool sci-fi movie with a bunch of special effects. Imagine a race of creatures that have developed to an unbelievable level. They have learned to control the very energy of space. They became so powerful that they started building Dyson spheres around their stars to harvest every last drop of their energy. Now imagine that two such races appeared in the galaxy, and they had a disagreement over something very important. For example, the recipe for the most delicious cosmic ice cream, or simply living space. A war began, but not with laser swords or even nuclear missiles. It was a war of technologies that can extinguish stars. A single blast from some kind of temporal annihilator and an entire star cluster turns into a heap of cooling ash. But even in the most horrific war, it is difficult to destroy absolutely all stars at once. After all, a galaxy is enormous. Its size can be 100,000 light-years across. This means that light takes 100,000 years to travel from one edge to the other. If you blow up a star on one end of the galaxy, the other end will only find out about it after 100,000 years. A signal cannot travel faster than the speed of light. This is the main law of our universe, which was invented by old man Albert Einstein. At least, that is what we thought. To extinguish a galaxy simultaneously, this mystical weapon would have to act instantaneously across the entire volume of space, or all the stars were rigged with explosives in advance. Admittedly, that sounds rather insane. So scientists decided to look at the problem from a different angle. What if it is not about war? What if it is the finale of the development of a single crazy, technogenic race? Imagine a civilization that has conquered all diseases, hunger, and poverty. They have spread throughout their entire galaxy. There became so many of them that the energy of a single star was no longer enough. They began to build traps for light around every single sun in their galaxy. They entangled billions of stars with special networks of solar panels. From the perspective of a distant observer, meaning you and me, the galaxy simply went out. Light from it no longer flies in all directions of space. Every single quantum of energy now goes into heating the gigantic space cities of this super civilization. If this is the case, then we are looking not at a graveyard, but at the largest anthill in the universe. The inhabitants of this extinguished galaxy are now sitting in the warmth, drinking their cosmic tea and watching local television, while we are here racking our brains and shivering with fear. This is an optimistic scenario. It means that the Great Filter can be passed. You can become so cool that no laws of nature apply to you anymore. You just take an entire galaxy for yourself and close the door behind you so that no one peeks. But scientists have a third hypothesis, one that sends very real shivers down the spine, and it is connected to dark matter. We know that everything we see around us, houses, trees, cats, planets, and stars, is just a tiny fraction of the universe, only about 5%. Everything else is mysterious dark matter and dark energy. We do not know what they are made of. We cannot touch them or see them in a telescope. We only know of their existence because they attract ordinary things with their gravity. It is like an invisible person who sat on a sofa. The person themselves cannot be seen, but the dent on the cushion is there. So imagine that in that distant galaxy, a collision occurred with a gigantic cloud of some new kind of dark matter, or the properties of space itself changed. In physics, there is a concept known as a false vacuum. Our universe is currently in a stable state, but this state might not be permanent. It is like a ball resting in a small dip on the slope of a mountain. It sits still, but if you give it a good push, it will roll further down to the very bottom. If the false vacuum in that galaxy decayed into the true vacuum, then the very laws of physics changed there. Imagine a place where atoms can no longer hold together, where electrons fly off in all directions and atomic nuclei break apart into pieces. In such a world, stars simply cannot exist. The flame of the thermonuclear reaction inside them goes out at that very instant because the rules of the game change. And this zone of altering physical laws can expand at the speed of light. For the inhabitants of that galaxy, it was an instant and painless end. They did not even have time to understand what happened. A second ago, they were making plans for the weekend, and the next second, the very matter they were made of ceased to exist.
The most unpleasant part of this story is that if such a bubble of changing physical laws is flying in our direction, we will not be able to know about it in advance. After all, it moves at the speed of light. Telescopes will not be able to warn us because the light from the catastrophe will arrive at the exact same time as the catastrophe itself. Here you are, sitting, watching this video, leaving a like, and suddenly, pop, and our universe is no more. Physics broke down. All right, let us take a breath. No need to run, pack your bags, and hide in the basement. Firstly, this dead galaxy is unrealistically far away. The distance to it is measured in billions of light years. This means that the catastrophe we are seeing now occurred billions of years ago, when there were not even any proper bacteria on Earth yet. Secondly, space is a big place, and the chances of such a bubble hitting us specifically are visualized as next to nothing. It is like winning 1 billion rubles in the lottery 100 times in a row.
But this case makes us ponder how little we still know about our cosmic home. We are sitting on a tiny grain of sand called Earth, which revolves around an ordinary yellow dwarf. It seems to us that we are the kings of nature. We have learned to launch satellites, invented smartphones, and can have a pizza delivered in 30 minutes. But against the backdrop of the scale of the universe, all our achievements are just toddlers messing around in a sandbox. Compared to the forces that can extinguish 1 trillion stars in a single flash, we are simply microscopic dust motes. And yet, this is exactly what makes astronomy such a beautiful science. It gifts us a sense of a great mystery. Every time it seems to us that we have understood everything and put it neatly on shelves, space throws us a new riddle that blows the minds of researchers. The dead galaxy is a stark reminder that the universe can be not only beautiful and welcoming, but also dangerous, unpredictable, and frighteningly alien. It does not revolve around humans. It has its own plans and its own laws, many of which we have yet to discover.
Perhaps in 100 years, our great-great-grandchildren will build super telescopes and will be able to discern what actually happened in that distant constellation. Maybe they will see a great cosmic wall there, or the remains of unprecedented engineering structures. Or maybe they will understand that it was just a new yet unknown stage in the evolution of matter. The main thing is never to stop searching for answers, looking at the stars and asking questions. After all, it was curiosity that made us human and led us out of dark caves into the light of reason. Our universe is full of wonders, and you and I are sitting in the very front row of this grand cosmic cinema. Ahead of us lie so many more discoveries that will take our breath away.
If you enjoyed this virtual journey into the mysteries of space, if you also felt that pleasant thrill of a pioneer, be sure to support our channel Give this video a big cosmic like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our new investigations. Write in the comments what you think happened to this galaxy. Was it aliens with super cool weapons, or just a whim of dark matter? I am very interested to read your versions, and I will definitely study the most unusual ones. Your support helps us make videos even cooler, more interesting, and higher in quality. Stay with us, and until next time in the vast expanses of the universe.